All right, hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing here? So we got a new block, new update today. They added a buoyancy block, so I want to see if I can find that. Let's see, what am I doing here? So here are the new buoyancy spots here. So they're big blocks that are only one mass. Um, so kind of interesting. We'll see the performance here. Let's go ahead and we'll do this real quick first. So what are they? They are 4x4s. Alright, so are those the same size? They are, alright. Alright, so they're separate bodies. Let's go ahead and put them on the water. This back one here is, we'll change his color here. That is the one that is not buoyant. So if you see that one flies up into the air like crazy, there was already somebody in the comments didn't get this. Like, you can see the buoyancy of this block, right? It's super duper buoyant. And so, you know, I know they mentioned seaplanes in the update, but like look at the buoyancy addition of that. So you can put this in some other builds and gain a lot of buoyancy. Now, of course, it's gonna be harder with smaller builds, but there's still all the other methods we have to do this. So you could build the hulls of your ship out of this really buoyant material, and other applications like that to get these to help. You know, are they a little on the big side? Sure, but you can see that's the standard buoyancy and that's the high buoyancy. So people have been asking for this for a long time. It's here. You can complain about it all the time, or you can say, hey, they trying to add things that people have asked for. So what are we going to focus on mostly this episode is Alistair has a new challenge going, and I might have to take a call in a little bit here, so I'll keep building while you know, if I take the call. But what we'll go ahead and do is let's look at Alistair's challenge first. And then it's a new helicopter challenge, so we're going to participate in this. And we'll read the rules first, as actually reading the rules is a good thing in a challenge. Imagine that. So oftentimes people don't read the rules and they have problems, and this can generally be nipped in the bud by reading the rules. All right, so it's going to be the Helicopter Build Challenge HBC. Goal of this challenge is to design and construct a durable, high-performance search and rescue helicopter capable of surviving harsh and unpredictable stormworks weather conditions. Aircraft must be built to overcome extreme winds, heavy seas, and poor visibility, all in the pursuit of one primary objective: rescue operations. Your helicopter should be equipped to handle as many search and rescue scenarios as possible. This includes medical response, fire rescue, transport, and sustain operations in challenging environments. Of course, it's up to you how much you include. You may choose to include defensive weaponry to fend off hostile clankers threatening you and your survivors. However, weapons must remain secondary. The helicopter's primary purpose and design focus must be search and rescue. Requirements: has to cost less than 140. Must work properly without infinite fuel and electricity. XML and glitches are fine. Power plant must be either diesel or turbine. This has to be a brand new build made by you. Must include at least 4 passenger seats. Must include rescue equipment. Must fit inside the Dreamore hangar, which is where we are. Submission has to be a helicopter. Doesn't have horizontally placed blades to control and propel. It's not going to be included. Doesn't have to just be a standard helicopter. It can be coaxial, intermeshing, tandem, etc. You can also add pusher props if you want more speed. It just has to be a helicopter. The blades can be slightly tilted for more speed. They just can't, for example, be on the nose pointed forwards. Your blades can be in any orientation while in the workbench. They just must be correct when spawned. The nose: each participant gets 1 submission. You may build with one other person in a team, but you can only do 1 submission per the 2 of you. No already started builds, no workshop micros or screens. I like that rule. No mods. I also like that one. For your build to be included in the final voting, the video must follow all these rules listed above. Workshop grading. Let's see. Top 7 submissions, again, will be chosen by the mod team, kind of like last time. Dre Moore, prizes. Good, good, good. Some edit clarifications. Pusher props must be made invisible. No tilt rotor or VTOL designs. The prop can tilt slight amounts to increase speed, but it can't be a VTOL. Just one more thing I thought to specify. You can use old logic and Lua. You don't have to be brand new, just made by you. How's it going there, Jay? Good to see ya. So there's a little controversy of this with people, you know. I absolutely support Alistair's decision here to not include VTOLs. Everything turns into a VTOL. And so, you know, it's supposed to be a helicopter. It's a helicopter. You know, I get the no pusher props. You know, I would be fine either way with pusher props, but I get the idea of not including them. Again, you know, I used to go through this. This is one of the reasons I stopped doing challenges was, you know, you'd say build a small rescue boat, and people would make flying contraptions. They've done this pretty much, you know, and I and other people have done challenges, and it's super frustrating because you try to set a, you know, you think a lot about what you want the challenge to be, you know, a small rescue boat, and people will build flying bullshit. And it's like, it's supposed to be a small rescue boat. And then, you know, you say $60,000, and people are like, well, can we do 70? I'm like, no, 60. And part of a challenge is you put a constraint on, you put the rules on, everybody has to do the same thing, so you get to see how everybody does the same thing differently. And so I'm glad Alistair has kind of constrained it to, you know, it has to be a helicopter. Can't be a VTOL, has to be a helicopter. So I like that. So we're going to look at some bunch of the builds. I've already made one. I did that on my laptop. I didn't bother to bring the file. I was just kind of playing, testing out some designs. There's a bunch of interesting designs I'm looking at here. I like to do a different propulsion system. So we're going to look at some stuff and try to come up with what I want to make. Like I said, I already came up with something and wasn't all that thrilled with it. But, you know, I've got a lot of microcontrollers already pre-made, so that helps. I just kind of need to make a chassis. Some of the Lua screens definitely aren't where I like them to be. I haven't started on a lot of them, so I can't put those in, but I don't mind if I do kind of a basic system. So some of the thoughts, tandem, if you don't know what tandem is Chinook style like this. Tandem was a thought. A transverse helicopter, I was thinking that's kind of more like this, one on either side. So that's another option, that's another thought. Tandem or transverse. I kind of like the sci-fi aesthetic. I was even thinking maybe something like this. This is kind of cool. I like this one. I would do ducted rotors, tandem. I'm kind of leaning towards this build here, kind of something like this. That's one notion I had, was something like this. I would like to be able to actually use it. I don't like making challenge builds and then I don't want to play with it. You know, you spend a lot of time working on it. This one here was another one that kind of struck me. I'm trying to decide if I want to go big or go small. So something like this. Tandem, vertical engine nacelles with rotors. This one has a pusher. We have to have an invisible pusher. So what I might do instead is, Alistair said you could tilt the rotors on pivots. So what I might do is do these vertical nacelles and then have them tilt a certain degree forward, so that like after you use the pitch component a certain amount, it starts adding the tilt, and that is kind of a game thing. It allows you to go a little bit faster. So building something like this would be kind of on the smaller side. So kind of my thoughts are smaller or bigger. I'm trying to decide. You know, if I go smaller, there's some benefits of that, getting it done. There's less interior work, of course, but it's a lot harder to hide micros. So the two builds that are really hard to do in game are super big and super small. Medium size tends to be a little bit easier because you know, you can hide all the microcontrollers and you don't have to build as much stuff, and then you don't have to decorate as much stuff. Now, a bunch of the quote-unquote stuff on some of the bigger designs I would do would be, say, for example, a large cargo bay where, you know, you don't need that much design in there, just an empty cargo bay in the back. There was a cool tandem design I'm trying to find. Let me see if I can find it. You know, again, I want to make this something that I can use. Now, part of the thing, too, is, you know, we get the constrictions and the restraints from the challenge. Well, there's nothing that says after the challenge is done, I can't change it. And I, you know, also could put constraints in that can easily be changed. So, like, this was another one. This one would be an absolute ton of work. It's tandem. And what I would do is I would like to make an opening nose and the ability to drive vehicles in and make it big enough to put cargo containers in, so I have some use for it, and have big tandem helicopter like this. The problem is it's very large, and so I'd have to deal with that as well. So something like this where it's just a really big tandem. I also like the notion of having the cockpit up above the cargo floor. That's kind of cool. So you'd have like the cockpit up here, and then maybe a tiny bit of space here, a ladder down, and then you have a cargo floor in the middle. So that's a thought too. This one, I would say, this one is probably, we're going to start building a shell for this. Because like what I could do is put in, I would build the engines in and then the cells. I'm thinking diesel, if I go something small, diesel is so economical in game that it costs you almost nothing to run. And that's attractive to me, especially because I have a career build series going on right now, and I could use a rescue helicopter. So by building one for the challenge that I can then use in the career series, and something like this is a lot less decoration and work to be done. I'd have to do a cockpit, pretty simple area for rescues in there. I would use my standard system of 2 winches going down, where you control both winches from one winch, and then you can bring the person up. I already have all the microcontrollers for running it and hovering and everything else. Be transverse. I've been wanting to make a transverse helicopter. And then he says no visible pushers. What I'd probably do, like I said, is tilt the rotors a little bit. So they just tilt a little bit forward. And then if I wanted later, after the challenge is over, I could add a pusher in there to kind of speed it up. But that's the thought. So probably, as much as I'd like to build that enormous, Johnny, it's just, I think it's going to be a ton of work. And so if I can do, so like this one's going to be a ton of work. This one, I think we can at least knock out a quick build today of the shell. And then the other one that kind of struck me, it's kind of pushing it. And I never liked it when people kind of pushed it on my challenges, where you're like, is that actually a helicopter? Is this one? This one here is also very interesting to me. But I would put rotors in. I'd put enclosed rotors in. I like the design of this. I like, it's kind of a simple shape. I like the cargo loading on it. I like the overall shape of this one. So we're going to play around, see what we can do here. Hopefully come up with something cool. All right, hello, Caesar, how are you? How are you doing? All right, good. So let's kind of play a little bit here. So let's start with the tandem. So we'll start with that, and I'm going to knock together a shell. Again, like I said, the part of the problem is going too small. It is really space. You start running into space problems pretty fast. So we got to keep an eye on that. We very quickly run out of space for microcontrollers. All right. So kind of a full bubble on this one. Yeah, I think if we start with a small one, that helps a lot to be able to get these, get it built. So kind of the notion with this one is small, compact. Trying to think, make sure I have enough panels here. So this part of it, especially if I go glass roof, I'm not going to have overhead panels much. So I'm kind of trying to keep that in mind. I hate flipping windows. It's such a pain in the ass. I didn't mean to move that. I'll have to fix that. Yeah, he doesn't want visible pusher props. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to push any pusher props in mine. Yeah, you can hide the... He said you could hide it in the build. I'm just not interested in hiding it. Usually I don't do all glass here, but I'm kind of thinking that would be interesting to do, so that's why I'm kind of doing it this way with glass. I'm trying to decide. Do a 2x piece there. keep moving them. I don't know why I keep doing that. I'm gonna do this. Okay. I think what I'll do is have to do ones on that because of the size of it. I think I want to glass up the sides more. Leaning towards no, but I don't know. I usually don't do too much visibility in my helicopters because I can pilot the thing without needing it all, but kind of seeing how I want to do this. Once we get over the pilot, doesn't need to really look behind himself, and that's about where your vision ends anyways in game, so. Kind of want a sci-fi modern look on this. Digging it. I want to keep it kind of simple on the shapes too. I don't want to go crazy. I think I want to make it taller. I'm leaning towards no on taller. Let's play with taller, see if I like it or hate it. I don't want the shapes too smooth. I kind of want it kind of industrial looking. Industrial, kind of buggy looking. I could also make sure, be cognizant of making sure I have enough space for microcontrollers. I don't like, not a huge fan of having skids. I'd much rather have wheels, so I want wheels in this too. Ideally retractable. Kind of outline the general. So that there would be the rescue area, the cargo area. Try to get gear in there. A little bulky. I'll play with the tail, see what I like with the tail here. So let's go. God damn it. I just thought I copied everything. I guess I didn't. think that's too fat right here. It's a little fat there. Seven. I'll make sure there's enough space for the doors. I think what I need there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's probably the minimum I'd want to go. I want to keep this on the tiny side, so. That's a good size. The tail cone's working pretty good. How's it going there, Smash Boy? How are ya? Not gonna be able to do anything for 2s. Let's try this, see if I can abruptly just end it. That's the problem with that. If I do that, we'll do... General shaping I like. I like I'm liking the general shaping. Let me see. Oh yeah, I saw you working on that VW copter. Cool. Yeah, I usually do side hatch and bottom just because I come up the bottom and then side hatch. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm digging the general shaping of this. Might come down one more here on this though. That I don't like there. And I'm trying to think, put the fill piece in here. Alright, that's looking pretty good. I like the general shape and design of this so far. I think what I'm going to do though is this. Trying to decide how I want to do this. So they're gonna have to float, so that's it's helpful. Yeah, it doesn't have to float, so that's helpful. Let's see. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. The cool thing is, this was another great addition the devs did here, is we have RPS power, pivots. So that was really great to add that. Now, I want them to pivot, so the problem is I wish they would add liquid ones of this size, but they didn't. So I could put power through, but I can't put liquid through at this scale. That changes kind of my design that I want. These aren't powered, right? No, these aren't powered. I gotta power them somewhere else. That's the problem, is the fluids are still big. Let's see what rotors I want to use here. Those are way too big. Leaning towards these. So I'm trying to think if I want to put the engines on top or put them in the wings. Right on the edge of the wings here. Put them in the wing roots, maybe. You gotta be 3x3s and put radiators in there, though, for diesel, so. Yeah, they're gonna have to go in the wing roots. Get them kind of flushed out, though. Ow. That hurt a lot. Let's see. Let's catch up to chat. How's it going there, Walter? How are you? Good to see you. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I like those. I like the new pivots. I did it for my azimuth as well. They work really well. Yeah, they'll have the pivots hidden inside the engine nacelles. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's only going to go about 15 degrees forwards. Yeah, I talked all about that when I first started. I went through the rules when I started the stream. Yeah, it's not anything like, it's not gonna be like a V22. It's just gonna tilt slightly forwards. Yeah. All right, so that's kind of, I think that's the engines. They probably could be a lot smaller than this. Let's see, what are they at, 12s now? That's a 12. That's an 8. Damn it, I thought I grabbed the other one. I guess I didn't. All right. I hate it when this happens and I don't get what I want with the grab here. It's obnoxious. I did grab them both. All right, now I've got them both. Let's try with 8s. Should be fine with 8s. Yeah, I looked through all the controversy of people complaining that, they couldn't essentially make pushers and everything else, so it's definitely, I agree with the thought process on that. I think it's better not to have pushers than to have pushers. I don't know. Either, I think you either need to do pushers or not. I don't like the idea of having, I'm not a big fan of having hidden pushers. I think, personally, I would say either have pushers or don't. You know, that would be kind of my thing. Don't dip your toe in the water. You know, don't screw around with hidden. I think part of the problem with like quote unquote hidden pushers is it makes it so that you want to build something small, you can't fit them in there, and so then. And I think the other thing too is when you get those types of rule sets, it causes people to be like, "Oh my God, if I'm not fast enough, I'm gonna lose." So that might not even be a consideration to the grading, really, the speed. But and then is Alistair gonna have to go like if somebody does one without any sort of you know additive speed, is he gonna be at a huge like spending all day doing this because it takes him forever to get there, and so he's got to test all these. That's gonna be obnoxious if he if it takes forever to get someplace. So personally, I would just either say you can have pushers or not. And even the completely even the playing field. That would be the personal way I would do it. That's kind of what I would do because it opens it up where it's like, and again the problem is with these challenges you try to come up with a rule set that actually makes it a challenge and everything else, and then everybody tries to deconstruct your rule set, and that's frankly one of the reasons I stopped doing challenges was it was obnoxious that people constantly just trying to like you came up with rules and you had a lot of reasons for your rules, and it seemed like everybody wanted to just like get rid of your rules, and it was like they're there for a reason. I've thought this through, and so I'm sure Alistair has. You know, it's just it can be frustrating when you've got people trying to like I talked about in the beginning of the episode here was like, you used to see it in like the Jersey challenges and everything else of like you had literally people they were trying to like they would build be for a small rescue boat and their shit would fly. And it's like, come on, dude. That's not what the goal is here. It's supposed to be a small rescue boat. Why does yours fly? That makes no sense. And so it was like, and then you try to get a helicopter, and everybody's building essentially planes that are all VTOLs, and it's like that shit I find to be annoying too. So, I see Alistair's kind of, you know, picking like I want a helicopter, make a helicopter, and I like that. That's, everybody knows what a helicopter is. Build a helicopter. There are plenty of interesting helicopter designs you can go after without having to, you know, make something that's not a helicopter. But it can be very frustrating doing challenges because of that sort of shit, so. You know, it often feels like everybody's working against you when you're trying to make a rule set, and would I do one on that side? It is one ahead. Alright, so I think those are the cells. Don't know if I really want the wings to be wider, but I'm gonna drop some engines in, so. We stop flicking the camera around? That would be a start. This can be filled. Well, we'll play with wider engines, see what we think. Still proof of concept and seeing even if this is the helicopter I want to go with, but I'm leaning towards yes. I kind of like the shape of this one better, and I want it small because I need to be able to get this thing friggin' done. So that's all considerations there I need. I see there or higher. I'm leaning towards higher. Yeah, definitely higher. Okay. Ah, cut the. It's all right. That down swooped angle there. Extend the engine nacelles a little bit, I think. In line? Yeah, they're in line. That looks beefy, I like it. We have to work the bottom a little bit here. Figure out what we're gonna do in the ass end here first. Alright, I'm digging the engine nacelles. That also gives us a little bit more space if I want to put more cylinders in there. I've got it, so. Alright, good. Alright, good. So that's in. We got our rotation in there set. So again, that's just going to go a small number of degrees forward and back, just to help increase speed a little bit. You know, I have the space, I could hide ducted fans in here. But again, I'm not going to screw with that for the competition. You know, and this will probably get a tail rotor. That's why this blocks sideways when after the challenge is over, or a pusher. Let's see if I can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, bang. Stop that. Nah. I'm digging the general shape and look of it. CG needs to come forward some, but that's not a problem. All right, let me check some chat here. Oh, you're doing another one, not the VW. Yeah, I like the VW. That was cool. But yeah, I do a bunch of these where I've already come up with a couple designs, but I'm starting to dig this one. Let's save this. There's a good naming scheme I like for the just putting the date in, because then like this is saved. I'm gonna keep making saves, and if I want to take this chassis and turn it into a VTOL, I can do that or do whatever I want. General shape's looking pretty good. Don't want to do skids, but I don't know. The way I've got the body here, it's going to be tough to throw gear in here unless I fatten out this problem, which I could screw with this and not have a problem with making gear wells here pretty reasonably. want to put big hips on it. I think we'll go without retractable gear. A little bit more bulbous with that belly pan, but not against it. Looks a little rounder than I'd like. Yeah, it looks too round. That looks sleeker. I like that. How did I miscount that? Just counted it. I miscounted it. All right. hide some weight. Need some more weight in the bottom here. It's annoying because I don't want to have to paint this shit. I think of what I can do to add some weight, not fuck around too much. A little bit bigger than I'd like with that, but that's helping. Engine nacelles could come. Yeah, I don't want to screw with the... I can move the wings forward. That would help. Okay. I gotta get some more weight forward, but working for now at least. Alright, diesel will make it really fuel efficient, which is what I want. Alright. I'm trying to think where I can add strip weight. If we could just paint the goddamn weight blocks, this would fix half this problem. Because the problem is that you can't paint weight blocks. That really screws me. See if I can go back to rounded. Now that it's longer, I think the rounded design won't be as offensive because it was a big part of the problem was that the rounded design was too short of a vehicle, so it was looking pudgy. And now that's longer. Let's see if it still looks all right. Because it's kind of like the commas, not the commas. What the hell am I thinking of? What's the round rotor? I think it's commas. Comov. Commas is a truck. Maz. Kind of like a belly cargo pod is looking all right. I can redo the gear. I'm not a huge fan of this gear. I'm just those placeholders, so. Yeah, with the longer fuselage now, that's not as offensive to me. Wow. I'm digging on that. That looks pretty good. I can pack some more weight in here now. I also need enough space for fuel, so this will help with that as well. I can put fuel in with these battle cannon pieces, so that will doesn't rob me of fuel, and I can keep the fuel where I want the weight, so that helps too. Still, I'm struggling to get this weight forward. I really am. Got a wheel in here too. It's some. Trying to decide if I want to do this fixed gear or not. Got a goof factor now that I don't like. Definitely got goofed up. I don't know. Does it look goofy or not? I kind of like certain angles. It looks good. The gear's goofy, but that's just to see if it sits right. Put a spawner in here too. There's some diesel in here. I'm interested how much diesel I'll get in here. $1,600. No, I'm not. I don't find it's. I don't know. It's not too goofy. It could be longer now that it's taller. So let's put a little bit of extra length in because that stretches it out. It doesn't look as round. I just don't want to look goofy, so it's. Starting to make it bigger than I'd like because I would have liked to use this on my home ships. That was part of the dealio. But the home ships, as long as the front will fit, the tail can hang off the ass end. So that's not a problem. Oh my Christ, could we rotate these correctly, please? It's getting much bigger than I'd like it to be, so. But now it looks more proportional with the what I put on there for where did I have that before? One, two, three, four, five, right there. All right. Like proportionally, that looks better, but merge. Yeah, my little helicopter got big, but again, now I got to think about putting microcontrollers in there and everything else, and that's a stress. Problem is CG's still well after the rotors. I'm going to move the rotors back now. For fuck's sake. You gotta be shitting me. Oh, that's what I really didn't need, was that grid to just reset there. Really did not need that. But it's getting much, much bigger than I'd like to be. I was trying to keep this small. Alright, let's see if we can't get the sucker in the air. I gotta make a transverse controller. I don't think I have a transverse controller. It's not too hard, so let's make one real quick. We're not gonna want that because I need it to go from the autopilot. I need to go from the autopilot to here, so it needs to go. Pitch. Yeah. Roll. Pitch yaw roll. Pitch. I don't need pitch. Pitch is the same. Roll should be the same. Yaw is the only thing I really need for a transverse helicopter. Okay, let's try that. Now I need pitch coming in. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can do this. Alright, seat engine. RPS, air manifold, fuel manifold, clutch. Starter, coolant pump. Alternator, radiator fan, battery. Okay. Let's look. we got, this is gonna be, let's see, 6, that's good. I gotta change this, so let's see. Start with that. I gotta just get this kickstarted and started here. That's what I want. All right. Come on, let's fucking act right here. Come on. See where I'm gonna fuel this sucker from here. This is gonna change anyway, so I'm gonna cut in here. How the hell did that get deleted? What the hell is going on here? Why does a bunch of shit get deleted? Okay. Okay. All right, let's see if we can't get started on these. Let's do infinite electricity. Alright, what's up? It's diesel, is it not? It is diesel. Alright, fluid going up. Oh, air didn't get hooked up. Alright, that's why. Never hooked the air manifolds up. Alright, what the Christ. Let's see. Let's look over them. I've deleted a bunch of shit as I moved them, so I'm gonna make sure everything's right where it's supposed to be. Alright, air is there. That's good with fuel. Oh, manifold sections, that's what it is. I need manifold sections in there. I'd yet to put those in. Alright. Alright. Alright, we got one running. Something didn't go on with the, Something didn't go on. Let's see what the hell. See if a symmetry problem. That's all good. Alright, engines are running. We gotta get the rotors going though. Alright, let's see what's up with that. This did not get merged, right? That didn't get merged, that's why. Okay. That would do it. that's running. Let's get gyro on there. I want to take, let's see, what do I want? Pitch. And I want yaw. So that's not good. I gotta go through here and last. All right. Let's see. Yaw. Yaw's not working at the moment. I don't know why. Collect is working. Pitch is working. Roll. Roll I've got to work on. Alright. Let's see what the dilly is here with this. Alright. I need to flip this for roll to work. Flip that for a roll to work, and then yaw. Why is yaw not working? Let's look at it. I need a dial to figure out yaw. Let's see, left, right. All right. Left is negative, right is positive. Left, negative, right, positive. All right. Left, negative, right, positive. All right. So left is negative, right is positive. All right. So if I go to the left, it's going to be negative. And I need, so I need port should go through fine, plus y. Okay. And then starboard, it's going to be positive. So if I go right, that needs to be negative. That's y, because I'm doing minus y instead of z's. That would do it. All right. That's fixed. All right. Then I want to get rid of that smoke so I can get a good picture. Yeah, these are some great additions they did. The ability to just click that off to get the particles. I like cats too, but again, you're trying to build something small, so if you want to use cats, you can still use cats. If you don't want to, you don't have to, you know. I see people complain about that sort of shit, but I'm like, that really something to complain about? We're gonna get some torque going like that, so I might just have to configure for... We're gonna get torquing effects with the rotors going the same direction. So I can just invert the roll, but I've got yaw now, so that's my yaw. Pitch, roll, I've got roll working now. It's actually pretty fast without even tilting, so we'll see what speeds we're getting. But we're pretty fast as it is here. We'll be faster with the tilt though, so. I'm gonna work on this here. All right, so we're gonna put the rotor back, and that's gonna we're gonna negate one of the rolls. All right, so let's see, roll. When I had it like this, so a right roll would be both need to go this way. So this one needs to be inverted. The right side needs to be inverted. All right. All right, that fixes that. All right, now let's get some of this pivot in here. I can see what direction these go here. So positive is forward. All right, positive is forward. Which is my negative pitch? I think I can go the same direction on here. So let's go ahead and do the... let's do this for now, and then I have to change it for the competition. But let's see the challenge. Let's see. Let's just hook it up like this for now. So let's do pitch starboard and pitch port. Yeah, that's gonna be funky. Yeah. What's going on here? Why are they not pivoting? I didn't put in the right number, I don't think, for X, for WS. Let me look. Nope. It's 2. Why is it doing that for pitch? Okay, because I did that negative like that. Let's see. I don't need them doing the yaw. I just need them doing the speed, essentially. Alright, good. Let's go for a test ride. So I haven't had auto hover on at all. So it's pretty stable. Again, you build your stuff stably. Like, you know, again, the gyro's not magic. It's not there to fix all of the problems you put in your build. It's there to, you know, it's not there to fix all the problems you put in your build, frankly. You know, that's not the goal of, that's not the goal of the gyro. So you need to make a stable helicopter to start with. Right now, my hands are off the controls, and it's very stable because it's you know, it's built stably. It's the center of gravity is below the rotors. It's not forward aft, and it flies really well right off the bat. You know, you don't need to screw with it too much, and that's something that like a lot of people don't get. Is they make a helicopter because again they get spoiled with these like kindergarten games where you put a rotor anywhere on the helicopter and it just flies. Well, what's it doing? It's magically putting where everything should be where it should be, and yeah, you can have it look however you want, but it's not really working, you know. And so that's the problem you get with a lot of those games. And so, let me see. You know, it's kind of like Space Engineers. You know, you put a battery on it, center of gravity. Well, I don't know if center of gravity doesn't matter too much to Space Engineers. I can't remember. But you know, a lot of those games, the center of gravity doesn't matter. All these things don't matter. So you can just put a rotor wherever you want, and it works. And that's not this game. You know, you actually have to build it like you would. You know, you put the parts where they belong. And the gyro's just there to do the final bit of stabilization. It's not there to magically fix it. When you get something at the workshop, you know, they're using 1,000 PIDs and everything else to get it to essentially fix all of your errors. And you can just go fix your errors and you don't have that problem. There we go. Let's go ahead, and I gotta figure out a different way to do this. So what we'll do here is, let's see. I gotta increase that number instead of decrease it. Times. Let's get rid of that. That clamp's gotta be there though, probably. Let's do 0.5. Do 2. So what I'm trying to do is the rotor tilt will help keep the, so like when we're trying to go forward long distances, the rotors will tilt a little bit forward to kind of help us go faster. Some bitch. All right, let's put a linear in here too. I need that. So I need to see how fast we're going too to see if this is worth all the bullshit. There's a bunch of ways I can do this. One, I can do it by speed. So as we start going faster, it starts trying to pitch the rotors more forward. That's one way I can do this. So that at slow speed, they're vertical, and then they start, as we speed up, they start going forward more, and we can reduce the deck angle. That's probably what I'll end up doing. But let's see how fast we can get going here. Alright, we're going about 50 knots. So this is the other thing we can do here. Let's make sure these don't hit the body. No, these won't hit. Yeah, they hit right there. The 50 is too much. Alright, let's try something with linear speed. Put it right in here. Ah, I don't want to do that. There we go. Okay. So it's going to be 0.3. Try that. All right. Ah, gotta fucking connect it first. Okay. So as we go faster, those should start to go, and then that will actually allow me to pick the deck angle up. So as we start to go forward more and faster, they're going to start tilting forward more because it knows we want to go fast. There we go. You can see it start to, it's working well. So I can keep the deck angle from having to angle my nose down as much. And so all I'm doing here is like going fast. And you can see they are hitting the nacelles, so I gotta fix that. So 0.3, let's decrease the rotor size a little bit. That should fix it. That was working well. As we speed up, it's starting to pitch them forward more. So as I lean forward to go faster, they're going to pitch forward more, which lets me pick the nose back up and not have that low deck angle. Let's do this. Maybe 2 blocks off. Oh, come on, prick. Don't hit that fucking door. It's making my life difficult here for no reason. There we go. Yeah, we're getting moving pretty fast here. So what fixed this is, you know, the only thing doing pitch control was the rotors, and the rotors are tilted forward. Now we're going fast, and we have elevators. And we have a nice long tail. The longer your tail, the longer your lever arms, so the more leverage you're getting with those elevators. So now we're all fixed up. We're doing a good speed now. That's, what's knots? 1.94, and it was 46, so 46 times 1.94 is 89 knots. So that's not a bad speed for this. Yeah, so there we hit 50, so that's about, yeah, we're over 100 knots right now, so not a bad speed. So very good. Putting a couple screenshots on Alistair's. So my hands are off, right? I've got no, yeah, my hands are off right now. It flies really well by itself, you know, so again, you don't need like really elaborate gyros from the workshop. What you need to do is build your aircraft to be stable and use the same type of physics things you do IRL. Make sure the center of gravity is in line with the rotors. You know, if you need more pitch authority like we needed, right? We crashed, we did a cartwheel forward, and I added elevators, and it fixed it. You know, these are all things you do IRL, and so you can do those. Yaw, I'm going to add, so right now I'm yawing with the rotors, and you see how we're doing like a tail-up torque? That's because the rotors are trying to turn us while we are you know, while they're tilted forward, so it's going to put a diagonal force on. So what I'm going to do is tie in the actual rudders and the tail, so they'll also do some work. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's, so do I have trimming? I have no trims in, so let's go ahead and start slowing down and seeing if we can land where we want. So let's let's go right there. And so if you saw the logic that's making these rotors tilt, all it is they're based off speed. And so they're maxed out at 0.3 tilt. And the as we slow down, they're going to automatically come up. And so it's doing 10% of the speed. So right now it's at 4, right? And so as we bring the nose up, as we slow down, those rotors will start to come back. And it'll automatically start acting more like a traditional helicopter. So here we go, we're slowed down. Now they're probably at like 0.1. And now they should be about vertical. And now we're right back into a helicopter. So this actually behaves more like a helicopter than kind of the way they have it in game. You have to pitch your nose down way too much because the rotors IRL will tilt forward and be more effective than just tilting the rotor here. So we're going to pitch up. And we'll come in for a landing. So it feels pretty natural. It's almost dialed in where I want it to. It's, you know, I just need to pitch back, and it brings those rotors up, and then it acts like a conventional helicopter in game. As we come up, watch what happens with the rotors. As we start to put the nose down, we're going faster forward, see them tilting, and I can actually start to bring the nose up. So instead of having to drive with my nose 20 degrees down, and so it's very comfortable to operate this. So now we're going to fast speed again. And all I have to do is pitch the nose up just like I would IRL to slow down because I'm changing the lift vector. So like if I change the lift vector all the way up here, look, now the rotors are vertical, right? So the vertical component of lift is taken over, and see them go vertical and they're straightened out. Now we're leveling our nose out. And that's what happens with helicopters IRL as you're going more and more forward, that you're tilting the rotor plane forward. So like I can pitch the nose down really hard and bingo, pick up some speed, and now we're picking up serious speed. So it's fun. Let's go to Komodo. So I'm going to follow the railroad tracks, do some maneuverability. Yeah, this flies nicely. It's fun. You see how fast it is? We're doing a good, probably 100 knots. Yep, about 100 knots. So if I tilted those further forward, it would go faster. Now, I don't really need or want that. It's not supposed to be a VTOL. I'm going to double check with Alistair, make sure this is good. He did say you could tilt the rotors with pivots. So I am within my rights there. It just can't be a VTOL where it they go full forward. You know, they have to be vertical still. So it's a 0.3, which is less than halfway. So I'd have to ask him. So now again, we want to slow down. I'm going to pitch the nose up, which can make us climb. So all I do to not climb is push down in the collective. So pitch the nose up, down on the collective. Pitch the nose up, down on the collective. As we slow down, I can push back up on the collective, and now we're essentially working like a standard helicopter. You know, when you pitch the nose of a regular helicopter up, let's say you're going 100 knots forward in a regular IRL helicopter, and you pitch the nose up, you're going to climb. And so to counteract that climb, you would reduce the pitch in your blades, your collective, just like we did. So go up, it yaws nicely. There's a quick yaw, you can see, very fun, quick yaw action. Pitch the nose down. We're going to start picking up speed quickly. And now it's annoying in game when you have to look at the water all the time, but watch the nose naturally picks itself up. All I'm doing is pushing on the collective, that's it. So this flies nicely, it's fun. I think this is a good speed. I don't want it ultra fast because, again, I want each of my vehicles to have a job. And for example, the the hell is it called again? Chickadee. Chickadee is ultra fast. Chickadee is a super fast VTOL. It's diesel. It's super inexpensive to run, but it's smaller than this. And so I want to keep being able to use Chickadee. And so I can still use Chickadee because this thing is slower than Chickadee. So if I have to go faster, I'll take Chickadee. If I don't mind going a little bit slower or half speed, because Chickadee does like 250 knots, Chickadee's ridiculous, I can take this. And this is bigger, so this has the advantage of being larger. And so, you know, kind of, I want each of my builds, I don't want to, like, you know, if a build really just doesn't work out, I don't mind replacing it, but I'd rather have something that does the job a little bit differently so that every once in a while I want to pull that out. Like I used Swordfish, which was for one of Alistair's challenges in the career build series last week. And Swordfish wasn't a purpose-built rescue boat. It was just kind of a, I forget what the goal of that challenge was, but it was just to have, you know, like a sport boat or something. And so it was good at that job. I went to do rescues with it. Well, my other boat that I purpose-built for rescues was better. And so, you know, if I want to go play with that sport boat, it's got some outboards, go play with that. I can play with that, or I can play with, you know, a different boat for different reasons. So to make all my boats do the exact same thing, or all my craft do the exact same thing, it's kind of boring. You can make it do something a little bit different. Like the helicopter I just made for lifting stuff, it's jet. So I have to have a bunch of jet fuel. I wanted to make this one diesel because I have a lot of diesel and it's cheap, and I can use this in the career build series. And I've got tons and tons of diesel, and I can buy it right next to my base for $2. And I can go do rescues with this helicopter and be very economical. But you can see how quickly you can transition to going really fast. Oh, we're rolling over. Alright, I'm just going to let it chill out for a second. I think that's Phantom Forces, maybe. I gotta see. Might have been Phantom Forces hanging up the pivots. Yeah, I think this roll is Phantom Forces. I'm gonna slow down. I did hit something, so... Again, you just pitch your nose up and down collective so you don't climb. Alright, they're straightened up now. Let's see if they're behaving. So all we have to do is pitch the nose down a little up collective. And as we speed up, my fingers just on the up collective, watch the nose naturally rise, because as the pivots go forward, the nose is going to come up. And so it makes it fly more naturally. I can look right outside. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. This is working well. Let's go ahead and bring this back to the workbench and save it. But yeah, I'm digging this. This is a cool helicopter. It's already, I'm liking it. And it's got, yeah, this thing should be very fuel efficient. Each side has an 8-cylinder diesel. That's it. 8-cylinder diesels. That's all there is in there. So they're very compact and small. And they're not going to use a ton of fuel. And so that's something that I like. You know, this thing should sip fuel. All right, what did I want to do? I don't really want or need this to go any faster. That's fine the way it is. It's really behaving well. So, like, literally let's walk through the microcontroller in case anyone's interested. So, we have a linear speed sensor, and all it's doing is this. So, we have a linear speed sensor, and we'll go through the formula. So, formula is real simple. We have x, which is the linear speed, times 0.01. So, let's take an example. All right, so you're going 1 meter per second times 0.01. So, that's going to move the pivots forward 0.01. So, a very small amount, okay? If you go ahead and you're going 10 meters per second, right, the pivots are now at 0.1. So that's 30% of their whole range. They're at 0.1, right? As soon as you're at 30 meters per second, they're at 0.3. So as soon as you hit 30 meters per second, you're in forward mode. So 30 meters per second, right, is times 1.94. That's 58 knots. So you're already going, you know, about 58 knots, 60-something miles an hour. And then it puts them all the way forward, and then it accelerates. It knows you want to go fast at that point. As you slow down, right, it's going to start bringing them back, and you're going to be able to slow down like a helicopter. So I like it. It's working really well. It's very, very simple. And then max rotation is simple. You have negative y, so it can go backwards, negative 0.3. I don't know if I want them to go backwards. No, I don't want them to go backwards. So we're going to put a 0 in there. So it's going to go 0 to a positive z. And all that is going to do is so that, like, when we're going backwards, I don't want to go backwards at, 60 knots inadvertently. I want it to operate like a helicopter going backwards. Going forwards, it can operate like a plane. Well, not even like a plane, like a helicopter. That's how they work. All right, let's go to yaw. All right, and then so stabilized yaw can go to the rudders. So let's take it for a quick run. So one of the reasons why I have the flywheels on there is this pretty much stays at 15 RPS all the time. It's going to stay at a stable RPS that I've set. And what I'll end up doing is do a ground idle, so that when you put it in ground idle, so when we land, it will go to, say, like 3 RPS. And so that's nice because you can leave it running. It's not enough power to take off, but it will sit here on the ground. It won't burn as much fuel. It'll be quieter. You can go run around, pick up the people. You don't have to shut it down. And then you go to flight idle, and it goes to 15. And so that's a good way to do it, so that it only gives you that extra power when you're going. But watch, we tip the nose down. See him start to go forward, and all I'm going to do is hold the collective up. That's it. And notice what the nose does. As we hold the collective up, the nose is pitching itself back up to level. All right, we've got airflow over our elevators, right? And so now we can control with the elevators. All right, and I'm going to pitch. I didn't mean to do that. That's fine. I trimmed in the collective. And now I'm just going to do a little pitch trim. Now we're trimmed out. All right. And so I'm going to look at my linear speed. We're doing 43. I can go full collective if I wanted. And I can pitch the nose down. All right, so there we go. We're pretty much trimmed out. And I can look at my linear speed, and we're doing over 100 knots right now. And you notice it's 30%. Pitch the nose down just a touch. So we're doing about, let's say, we did 53 max times 1.94, so that's 102 knots. All right, so now remember before it wants to yaw with the rotors only. So now, see how it yaws much flatter, and that's because we have actually rudders on there. And now we can roll, and we can turn like this. We can keep that speed up. Now we got to check on cooling. I haven't had it overheat yet. It will overheat, I believe. Let's see. The vehicle damage is on now. It will overheat. Engine overheating's on. So we'll see if it overheats. Shouldn't have a problem. It's not that much load. They're 3-to-1s. We're running at 15 RPS. They're reasonably small motors. I could make them bigger and then decrease the RPS and increase the gearing, but should probably be pretty good. Yeah, the nice thing about this is it does make it a little bit better for rescues, the ability to go a little bit faster, because the problem with helicopters in game is you can't really get that without pivots. You can't get the blades to kind of angle like they would IRL, so you don't get realistic helicopter speeds. But this one, as you can see, we're doing a good realistic speed. We just got to 58 in a dive. 58 times 1.94 is 112 knots. And then again, when we pitch our nose up, it's going to make us climb. So we're going to push the collective down and pitch the nose up. And that's going to, the collective down's going to keep us from climbing too much. And the pitched up nose is going to slow us down. We're changing the lift vector, right? Oh, I have, you know what the problem is? I have the collective maxed out and trim. That's why. I was like, why am I not able to get it down? Because it was maxed out, so. But we can do that again. Let's speed up. Here, let me get rid of all the trims. So if you didn't know how to get rid of trim, you hold the Alt key and you press up, down, gets rid of that one. Then we had pitch, so you want to press WS and it goes to 0. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get going fast again. It feels very natural. I've never flown a helicopter, let's put it that way, but I've flown a lot of airplanes, and it feels very natural to me. All right, so we're going to pitch the nose up and push the collective down. The collective's trying to put us to the ground, and the pitching the nose up is trying to keep us from going to the ground. And all I'm doing is working WS and pushing the collective down. As we slow down, the rotors are going to straighten themselves out, and now they're pretty much straight up and down, and we're a helicopter. Again, with no pitch, so. And if we get going too fast, that's all we gotta do. Pitch the nose up and push down a little down collective. That's it. So it's not, we don't have to do anything, which is nice. There we go. So I'm really liking this. I'm gonna save it. And I think I'm gonna jump off. So this one's good. I'm going to save this. I like this for other projects. So I'm going to save this here. All right, so that will tell me it's for the challenge. But yeah, so good progress on this. I like the shape of this. I didn't want it to be this big, but I think, like I was saying before, if I made it too small, it competes with a bunch of other things that I've built. Like Chickadee, I'll bring Chickadee in real quick. Chickadee is insanely good. Chickadee is a VTOL. It's diesel. It has more power than this helicopter does. This thing does like 270 knots. It does 270 knots with diesel. It's ultra fast. And I can do rescues out of this sucker like it's nothing. And it holds, what's that, 6? And I rescue the normal way I do. I go down the middle, and they come up from here, and I walk out on this pontoon, and I pick them up. And Chickadee is ultra fast, but it's tiny. And so making this a little bit bigger, it gives it a different job. And like you have, Katie did. Yeah, you have Katie. Katie's all about rescue. Has the front propeller on. I have a ton of these. This CBS, this one here's job is to pick up a car and land on my home ship. This one is ultra fast. This one's another super fast one. This one, as you can see, is got good capacity on it, but this one's ultra fast. So I didn't want to take anything's job. This one's a tandem, tandem heavy lift. Do rescues in that one too, but I don't want to take anything's job. I don't want to do other things. This one's whole job. This one's goofy and tiny because this whole job is to go inside of an airplane and be loaded into an airplane. So. Actually, I don't have that many helos in here. But yeah, so I'm happy with this. This is the new heavy lift I made. It's called the Vulture now. Yeah, there's the Vulture. And its job is just to like go pick stuff up that's heavy. So I think we'll finish up there, guys. So if you liked the video, give it a like. If you're new and you enjoyed it, consider subscribing. It was good to see everybody, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.